really excited to see new faces joining in for this exciting one. So for those of you new to this group, welcome. And as May said, it's a chance to meet some pretty awesome people active in rewilding and in communication and doing some really cool things. So we've noticed that it can feel sometimes a little lonely to work on those kind of like big and complex topics that we're working with. And so what we want to do is really facilitate like the meeting of other communicators and to feel less alone, to feel more inspired, and just to bring in more collaboration into our work and into this journey within the rewilding movement. So this group is also meant to learn from each other, to build community, to ask questions, and so on. So with this new version, in a way, of the network call, what we want to do is really highlight some of our partners on a key communication topics. So kind of like have this hour to dive into a specific format, a challenge, a tool, something that people have been using and they want to share their experience with, and then that way we can all kind of discuss it and ask questions, share insight, and just keep learning from each other and trying, testing, and kind of keep building this like good practices together. So we want to keep those sessions engaging. So please do share questions, opinions, and insights, and so on. There will be a space for that at the end too. And yeah, as mentioned, this is the first one of this new format, so we're very excited to host it with you all. And do keep in mind that if you have a topic that at some point you'd like to share with us, maybe you'd want to be a speaker at some point, always happy to discuss it outside of the call. So just keep that in mind in your head and feel free to reach out.
Great.
So, yeah.
So today, without further ado, we'll be delving into the world of illustration. So how these visual tools can be a powerful communicating tool to talk about the complex whole system approach of rewilding. And we're joined by two wonderful experts. So Anne-Marie, who is the program leader of the Netherlands Rewilding Network and forms the core team at ARC Rewilding Netherlands, and Jeroen Helmer, the illustrator who has been working alongside their team for 36 years now and is in very high demand recently due to the launch of a book that is full of these illustrations that you'll see today. And I'm sure most of you already have seen the work or been impacted by the illustrations of Jeroen at some point. And the book itself is currently up for the Best Nature Book Prize in the Netherlands, I believe, Jeroen, which is incredible. And it visualizes the transformation of landscapes to healthy, balanced wild lands and seas. So I'll pass over to them now. And please, again, feel free to add questions and things into the chat. And over to you, Jeroen and Anne-Marie. Welcome.
Yes, thank you. Well, everybody can see the presentation now, I think.
Yeah, we can see
okay.
that.
Well, thank you for having me in this very nice broadcast about communications. Well, I'm Jeroen Helmer. I'm for 36 years, as you said, illustrator by ARC Rewilding Netherlands, and well, slowly I've become more and more accustomed to the story of rewilding. We already knew a lot of, together with my brother, who founded ARC Rewilding Netherlands and co-founded ARC Rewilding and also co-founded Rewilding Europe. We were always together in the field looking for birds, plants, insects, dragonflies, you name it. And well, that's how it all started. And we were developing stories about how things could work together, but there was no one who would illustrate those things. And so I pass on to the next slide. You see this? So the first I made these field lesson plates, and that was just the species. So because we had a lot of field lessons with a lot of children, to make them more accustomed with nature and with the rewilding principles, in fact, so they could learn from natural processes. In the first stage, I was just drawing all these species, like everybody does. Everybody knows these kind of things with just the species and the names, and all put together more or less in the landscape. So that binds them a little bit, but it was not. I was not satisfied. I thought we had so many nice stories about all things coming together, and how, for instance, keystone species are making such an extra proportional influence on the presence of other species. So I thought and it all started with this one. It's a plate about scavengers who profit from a dead animal. And then it started growing in my brain of how we could make a large series of keystone species from which also other animals profit. But that was 2011. You can see that down there. But actually, this was the first one on the wild boar. So this is what I had in mind. So you had a keystone species, very large in your picture, as a drawing attention within a landscape, and around it all the themes in which this species is decisive for the presence of other species. So, and these themes I've been describing in short texts, 4 or 5 lines maximum, and to help you about the process that I'm trying to explain. And around those themes, you see the species that profit from this special aspect of this keystone species. And I thought I could do this on the wild boar, I could do this on the beaver, on the wild cattle, wild horse, you name it. And so I told it to everybody, well, this won't work well. Could we develop this more? And in the end, it was not that easy, but in the end, I got quite a list of animals that profit from that would complete the list of what I had in my head. Everybody knows these things, I think. So these are the keystone species, the herbivores, like the bison and the wild horse, doing all kinds of things. They're wallowing, making these sand baths in which pioneer plants profit, and the poo, of course, is attracted by a lot of beetles and flies, and so there are all kinds of aspects. They're not just mowing machines, but they do all kinds of things in the landscape, and I wanted to explain that in pictures. Of course, the beaver is a very big, large ecosystem engineer. By keeping the entrance of his burrow under the water, he has to raise a dam behind which a lot of water is stored into a lake, and a lot of marsh vegetation will profit. So there's a cascade of consequences of the presence of such a large animal. And the idea is always the same: a large animal in a landscape setting. And I try to add as much as I know about illustration to emphasize what I want to express. So you have all things about color, about construction, the composition is always important, the color temperature, the detail level, a lot of detail on the foreground, less detail on the background. I use that all to help you enter the illustration. So not all the information has an equal intensity, but you can step from one level to another, which helps you to
Can I ask, Jeroen,
Yes.
before you go more into the technique and perhaps what you live in, what you live out, and what you choose to keep? Can I ask kind of what was your trigger to decide to illustrate this natural phenomenon? Did you feel like there was a lack of such
Yes.
materials?
Yes, I only see these. We are very good in analyzing and not very good in bringing those things after we have analyzed it to bring it all together. And that's what bothers me all my life. So I always was busy. When I was drawing a bird, it was always in a landscape. So you could at least see it tells you something about the identity of the species, where you see him in the landscape. So that was one thing, but it could be even more complex by illustrating the interconnection between all these species. What is the role of every species, and how do they relate? How do they relate to one another? And I thought I could do that. I can make these stories in an illustration, and it is not done by too many people. At least I don't see it, but I'm just in my own room and publishing my drawings, and I'm not very in contact with colleagues, I must say. I'm more in contact with ecologists than with illustrators. But as far as I can know, there's not too many published. Oh, there are very talented bird illustrators, very talented plant illustrators, but I don't see too many people doing all of it, from the smallest germ to the largest whale. And everything is interesting, and everything relates to each other. So that's important to have, I thought.
And yeah, it's very useful, especially for us in the rewilding movement, where we try to show the importance of species in the landscape to really get this illustration that bring it all together. And as you were explaining to us last time, it kind of brought a lot of interest to you when you started publishing the illustrations and the book. You saw a lot of interest from the rewilding movement in sharing these and using these, right?
Yes, that's how it works. These small texts you see on my illustration, they are translated in 14 languages. So from Portugal to Poland, and from Denmark to Ukraine. I saw that Katja Kurakina also is involved today. So she did a lot of these translations. And so apparently it works. People want to know about these relationships. And it's a new way of looking at nature. It's also a thing about biodiversity. Biodiversity is not about all those species, but it's about what they do with each other. That's what biodiversity is about. And it's a story that needs to be told, because we seem to be focusing on these species, and especially the very rare species that are threatened, and there's a risk that they will die out. But we have to think about the functioning of the system, because that is what brings new species. And that is what sharpens the properties of the species to be better adapted to all these changing situations that we find ourselves in. Especially the coming decades, there will be a lot of different changes in the environment. It will be hotter. It will be outbursts of rain or drought, and that will follow up quicker and quicker. And I think nature is very resilient, but there may be a limit to that. And yeah. And I'm going for also very small keystone species. Just a mussel can also be a keystone species. And of course, there's flagship species. So also species that are more a symbol of the kind of diversity that could be there, but not necessarily a keystone species, or more iconic, you can call it, like the Dalmatian pelican or something, or the sturgeon. Is a large fish that was in every large river in Europe, could be 5 meters long, and we hunted it to extinction. But also I make plates of the phenomena that are derived from the presence of a large animal, like bull pits. Nobody knows about the bull pits, what happens there. So I'm investigating that myself and learn about the insects that visit the steep edge. Or poo is also a phenomenon derived from a large animal. And there's very much going on poo. Large wood chains are derived from it. Dead wood, of course, you see the 3 stages in which a tree can be what's the name? Sorry. Soil life. There was an experiment. I wanted to show everything that's happening in the soil, but what bothered me was the soil. So I left it out, like everything is standing on a glass plate. And not everybody understands what I'm doing, but there was a way for me to explain, but to show all the burrows of the animals and the highways of the interconnection by the fungi and the roots and everything. So that was my way to show that. And here I'm going to show you how I make my picture. So, for instance, this is about the mobile forest. It's a forest that's not always in the same place. Forests will move in the centuries. And I had all these are my field sketches. So since 40 years, I've been collecting my field sketches. This one is from, can you see the cursor where I am? This one is from 81, so this is 44 years old. And it's I have 10,000 of these sketches, and they are the base of my illustrations. And then I go further. I put them all together in a landscape setting, and I make my I want to show an open space in the forest. So I needed a dark element to emphasize that, to stress that. And later on, and also you see that I am making my texts straight from the start, because they will have to be, you have to read these texts. So when it's like here about the horse, there's also a text. So I know from the beginning that I can't draw too many details there, because otherwise you won't read the text. So it is either white or very silent, very quiet, the background. Here you see the real text, so I'm really aware of what space they will take. And then I put my sketch on an aquarelle paper and do the whole drawing again with even more detail. And then I start coloring species for species. So this is not very artistic, I'm sorry, but I have my table full of prints from the internet and my own sketches to have all the species must be, you must be able to recognize the species. So I add the color that you need to recognize the species. But I do it very light, not very deep. The deepening comes later when I start drawing the background. And then you see how this starts to work. This becomes an open space. And I know that from my sketch. So the sketch helps me where I can put stress on elements in my drawing to make the right expression. And in the end, this is the final draft, and you see the text added, and you can still read the text here about the horse, because I knew that I had to be very quiet there. Also, I make, this is for the Portugal version of the book. I made, because they don't have links in Portugal, I added an Iberian links special for this one translation. And now this was about the illustrations of the book, and now you can see all the presentations after the publication of the book. Well, maybe Anne-Marie can tell something about it.
Thank you. Yeah, I work for ARC a little bit more than 3 years, and I knew ARC. I was for 16 years a climate campaigner, but I knew these nature organizations from the drawings of Jeroen. The dead wood drawing was really, it was not a campaign, but a lot of people who know how important it is to let dead wood in the in the woods, in the forest. That ARC did not make a campaign about it, but these drawings were so very popular that it was a very good communication tool for all the people who wants to tell the story why it's a little bit messy in the forest. So and when the installation of Lisbeth Bakker, the professor, the rewilding professor, was there, she there was a lot of people gave presentations, and most of them had at least 3 illustrations of Jeroen in their presentation. So it was really funny. So I think it is really helpful to communicate about rewilding, these drawings, and they are for free in our at our website. And this is the book, and these illustrations tell a story, but it's very helpful when Jeroen tells about his illustration and what he has, where it is all about and what rewilding is. But we had 2 options: just clone Jeroen or ask him to write a book. So my director asked Jeroen to wrote his stories around these drawings in a book, and it's really amazing, and we want it would be nice to translate it and all these all these stories that there are also available in different languages. We gave this book at our anniversary last year to 200 people from within the Nature Network, and that was really helpful to launch the book and to promote this story. And it was really great that there were 2 newspapers, huge newspapers that put Jeroen on the front page of their newspaper. And that these stories go around the Netherlands. This is the other one. And there was also a television program about these stories. And it is really, this is a very difficult time in history, and we know what to do. We need to get rid of the fossil fuels, and we need to restore nature. That's very clear to a lot of people. And I think it is. This book is on the right. Is there on the right time. We have built a network of young rewilders the last 2 years, and there are 850 people from the Netherlands who are joining this network. And I think the book of Jeroen is really helpful with that. So I'm very glad that we did not try to clone Jeroen, but ask him to write this book. So. And and what is also very nice, that Jeroen was asked by nature organizations to give a lecture, and for example, from the biggest nature organization in the Netherlands, who are sometimes a little bit conservative, or we thought, what can we do to make them that they adopt also rewilding. But they are really interested, and Jeroen gave for the second time a presentation to all the managers, and that's really helpful. We have since 2-3 years an upscaling program that we want to promote rewilding as a very necessary approach in the Netherlands, and this book was really a game changer for us. So it really helps. So my advice, write a book about rewilding that is beautiful, that is holistic. And yeah, it is for us a very helpful tool.
Anne-Marie, you, in a conversation that we had earlier, you described the feeling like it was putting on a pair of glasses, and that you start, after seeing these illustrations, you start looking at landscapes in a completely different way. And that really hit home for me and my experience with rewilding and the whole system's perspective. It is a bit like the glasses, but these illustrations are sort of a tool for that. They are sort of the glasses in effect. Yes.
When you I studied history, so totally different study, and I work with a lot of very talented ecologists at ARC, and they put the glasses on, the rewilding glasses. When I walk through a rewilded area, I think, well, this is a little bit messy, and why are all these trees shaped like this? And now I recognize it really, and I think, wow, there are social herds here, and these animals have a fantastic life, and this is how it should be. And I don't see the messiness anymore. I embrace it. So it's really fantastic. But when you are looking, I also have a garden with a lot of flowers, and so. Yeah, I was used to style nature a bit, but it's you need to know what you see, and storytelling and illustrations. Yeah, you need that to promote rewilding. Otherwise you see only a messy stuff. It's just like a garden magazine. They photograph it all the time in the midsummer, and you see a fantastic picture. But when we make a report of a rewilded area, and you put all these species that you have found in one report, you don't see all these species when you do not have studied ecology. But you see the beautiful, you see the potential of nature, and the joy that it is self-regulating, and you see the wildness, and you need some knowledge to see that.
It's a really good example of how the ecological knowledge of a place, together with the communication tools and a talent like Jeroen's, is really bringing together all we need in terms of putting out the message that we need more nature, and it really brings it to life in a visual, simple to understand way. And as you were saying, we would like to clone and have more Jeroens. Jeroen, you how do you see that you can? What is the advice that you would give to other organizations who would like to spread this message and to get this knowledge across?
Yes, it's. I try by myself to have some students educated them. Most of the time they are biology students that can draw a bit, and then always the basic knowledge of illustration lacks, or you have artist students which do not have too much ecology background, and that's a little bit harder to work on that. But also the basics of illustration, it's not that easy. It's because we're talking about really concrete stuff. It's not. You have to really understand the animals and the plants that you see, and it turns out that it's quite hard to make an illustration of something that really stands on the floor. Mostly things float somewhere. So I don't know how to do this, but maybe somebody's listening, somebody's watching, and want to send the portfolio so we can see what the quality is, and we can help the story further, because it has to be okay. I have my standards, of course. what an illustration should apply to it. And even my illustrations can also always be better. And also it's based on the information that we have, and this information is also renewing all the time. And it's become new insights every day, and especially the scientific community is going full on rewilding nowadays. So the items of rewilding that are investigated these days is exponentially growing. So the insights are growing too, and they all have to be applied in illustrations. Yes, maybe some need some revisions. Yeah.
Yes,
But how other organizations do it, I don't know. Maybe, well, in the end, they see the need for this, and something will happen. People will stand up and think, "I can do this." And,
it definitely feels like one of the call to actions from today is to find more illustrators that would like to lean into this space, because there's one of you, Jeroen, but it would be brilliant if there was a whole horde of you to bounce off each other as well, because I'm sure that you would certainly love to have company in that space. It's like a lot of the rewilding movement, it's not a sort of competition, it's more a collaboration, a collaborative space.
Yes.
And when you're drawing an illustration that's trying to show the life in the soil, and you have to keep out all of the soil, it's pretty abstract. So
but mostly people make a cut in the soil, but then you only have this cut, and you don't see the spatial relationships. So I got rid of the soil. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, but it's the only way I could make it clear. Oh, yes, there are some hands.
Yes. Alistair, you want to go?
Let Hannah go first.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm Hannah from Rewilding Britain, and before I joined a few years ago, I think we worked with you, Jeroen, to do an uplands illustration. Yeah, which is great. It's one of we turned it into a video as well, so it's all animated from one end to the other.
Yeah,
and it's still one of our sort of most favorite, most watched videos, with like tens of thousands of views.
Wow.
We moved on to I am going to ask you a question in a minute, but we moved on to doing our own illustration because we felt we needed to use an illustrator that might go with our brand as well. So we ended up drawing something where we wanted to show the you probably can't see it that well, but the spectrum of rewilding, moving from not very well rewilded through to like deep rewilding with stalks and everything. But we had to think about it quite a lot, so that we could show policymakers and things like that, and for them not to be scared and to see that there were people and things like that. So we've taken it to some policy events and things recently. So I've got two questions. One is like, who do you find as the main audience? Because you were saying, sorry, I don't remember your name, but the lady who just spoke, you were saying about how it's been a game changer. So is it policymakers or the general public? And then the second thing is, have you moved on to successfully translating your illustrations into a sort of digital environment, or do they remain quite print heavy? Have you made them interactive or animated?
No, it's not animated. To go to your first question, that everybody uses these pictures. They are on the first grade of schools, the kindergarten, they hang there, and also at the desk of the specialist and the scientist. So they seem to do the job for almost everybody. And I did not have a real audience in mind, actually.
No, but the publisher publishes illustrated books for children, but also from the general public from 8 until 88 years old.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the target group for the book.
Yeah, you can look at my illustrations, just the picture, and if you want to know more, you can read the small texts, and if you still want more, you can read the book, of course. And your second question was that if it was also digitally available, that is indeed the case. You can, well, still maybe not the English version. There was something wrong with the English version, but all the other languages are on. If I'm right, if I'm well informed, on our website, you could download them, so they are digitally available. They are not animated, alas. I can make animations like I showed you from the forest, the mobile forest. I can make those animations, but not the animals loose. Could be, but. Well, never. It would be an extra, intensive way of making these illustrations, and mostly I don't have the time to do that. Yeah.
It does take a long time. Yeah, we're just about to enter into that world, but yeah, thanks very much.
Okay, my pleasure.
Nice. Alistair, did you want to go?
Alistair.
Should we go to?
We also have Laura and Katerina now, so why don't you take them?
Okay.
Hi, thanks so much for showing us your pictures and explaining how I particularly like seeing the process that you went through. So yeah, I also just wanted to say thank you for making them available online to download for free, because I think this is a real gift for people to be able to utilize those images and for you not to keep them behind a paywall for, so I just wanted to say thank you. And to me, that is part of the rewilding movement in terms of not holding this for certain people only. So I just wanted to say thank you to you and to your organisation for making that possible for people. I think one of the things that possibly, whilst all the chat and people saying how wonderful they are and we want to clone you, I think one of the things is potentially that they are so incredible that people are nervous of trying to make their own version because it can't match up. And I think, to me, when, before the pictures you showed where you were just drawing some of the plants, it seems now that you have done all of these processes, it seems unfathomable that we wouldn't be looking at the images in this way by including all of the processes and the benefits from all of the species. But obviously it's not that long ago that perhaps that wasn't the case. But I have used an illustrator to do not so much rewilding, but farm advice work, where we just did a kind of bronze, silver and gold version of what a farmer's field might look like if they put in more interventions into their land, but just using really simple, because I can't draw, so just using really simple illustrations to do that, and that still has a really powerful effect. So I think even the work you're doing, even if some of us can't replicate the detail, that principle of integrating all of the processes can still be really useful for people. So thank you for leading the way. And I guess just a shout out to people to just do something, even if it isn't fully crafted, with 44 years worth of back catalogue to integrate into it. So thanks for explaining your process. It's really beautiful.
Okay, thank you.
Katerina.
Hello, and I also wanted to thank Jeroen and also say and confirm, let's say, that they are very widely used, the illustration that you produce, very widely used across all the rewilding Europe landscapes. So they are translated to all the languages of Europe mostly. And also just to say, I'm coming from Danube Delta landscape from Ukraine. They are translated as well to Ukrainian language and very widely used now, even during the war. I'm sorry, just a bit noisy here. So, and to say about the audiences, let's say, who is using the illustrations, they are everywhere, starting from the kindergartens and ending at the universities. Also, natural parks use them very widely for producing the information boards in the natural parks, for example. We printed them as posters. We distributed them as social media posts, which were also very widely used. So just to confirm that it's super mega useful, and I haven't encountered any similar illustrations that depict natural processes so detailed. Thank you.
Thank you, Katarina.
Awesome. There's also a question from Naitik in the chat. Would you like to come to ask it yourself? Or
Open the chat.
I can read
Perhaps
it.
we
Again.
read it aloud,
Yeah.
Yasmin. Yeah.
Okay, I'll start with the last one. So first, seems like a huge fan of your work. Jeroen has inspired me to start creating illustration for my PhD research. That's awesome to hear. In the age of AI, where making art is becoming comment prompt driven and super fast, how can an artist maintain their individuality? And what are your thoughts on using AI to create illustration? To me, what you create feels truly indispensable. No human or AI could replace it. Also, could you recommend any books or resources to learn ecological illustration?
Oh, yes. Well, I don't use book on illustration itself. It's just my own language of drawing, and that's what I've been doing all my life. Yeah, about AI, it's coming up, and I think but you can't just copy my drawings. I think there's a whole way of thinking behind it, and I'm really curious if AI could transport that too. But maybe it will in the end. As long as we feed the animal, it will become richer and richer, and in the end replace us all. It's the thought. I don't know, but it's in these times when I look at illustration, there is this by drawing from a computer or from this tablet. What I see, maybe I don't see it, don't see enough. It's indeed a more or less. It's becoming one language in which you hardly can discern any personality in these illustrations, and that worries me a lot, because it's always a person that makes these things, and where you have these. But it will, I think, where there's a will, there is a way, and even in the electronic digital illustration, it will pop up. Personalities will pop up, but. I'm a little bit worried about the there's no individuality. It seems I can't discern any individuality in the illustrations that I see coming from digital sources. But maybe I'm wrong, and there are very sensitive tablets, I believe, that can almost do the same thing as my pencil, or maybe you don't want to do the same thing as a pencil, but but just this about AI. I think we need warmth and contact, and the tendency is to avoid any contact and make it less personal, because you can't be harmed when it's less personal. As we seem to be retreating from each other, where we should stay in contact. That's a very important thing.
And
in any communication.
This connection would not be happening if your illustration had been created by an AI, basically. So it's also because you are behind this that we're having this human connection now and talking about these topics that are important to us. Can I just ask, before we follow up with the questions, could you say that your illustrations have allowed you and Arc Nederland and the rewilding movement to reach other audiences, maybe who are outside of the nature
the bubble?
Bubble? Yeah.
Yeah. Also, newspapers that were completely unexpected. They contacted me. Really right-wing newspapers want to have some there were some activists even within there who want to tell more about nature, because nature is quite not so political. It is quite broad, and in every corner you can find people who are committed to nature. And you can tell your story almost everywhere. It's very nice.
Yeah, and Jeroen gives also lectures in bookstores, and some podcasts are there because of the book. So it's really wonderful how many people you reach.
To and Mary, can I also ask you about something that you had shared with us on how this illustration can help when you want to create a campaign, and perhaps also the links between biodiversity, the trying to help biodiversity and climate, and how this illustration can help?
Yes, it is very helpful for communicators when they want to explain something that is that people talk about in society. In the Netherlands, it was really a big thing, the leaving dead wood in the forests. So yeah, it was. There were information signs, and I saw that you when you cycle through the Netherlands through nature areas, you see a lot of you can count the illustrations of Jeroen. So yeah, the dead wood was not exactly a campaign, but it was spontaneously almost a campaign.
Super.
I see a question about illustrations outside of Europe. Yes, that's a little bit sensitive. I think I could make drawings. I did one for America, but it's a little bit strange to draw plants and animals that you've never seen yourself. I do that sometimes also in my own European plates. Sometimes I cannot see all the species, but most of them I did. And I have my own sketches. So it's a little bit hard to do it outside of Europe. I have to go there maybe, but I'm not I don't fly. So I even don't have a driving license. I do all with my bike or with train, and that would be something to go everywhere.
There is one of your illustrations in particular, though, Jeroen, that is we at the GRA like to think of as you being able to use in a global context, and it's the helix.
Oh, the helix
listing. Yes. That's well, everyone should go and look at it, but it sort of shows the transformation of the landscape from a very degraded or sort of mainly principally agricultural land, and then through the sort of journey of restoration to a wild lands. And that's, I mean, it's illustrating a transformational process that happens across the continents, and that all of our networks certainly could relate to, whether the species are water buffalo in one continent and bison on another. They're performing sort of similar roles. So there's certainly, we need to expand beyond the European species, but there's a certain pattern to it all that seems very globally relevant.
Yes, what I offer is a way of looking at nature, and I hope that will be replicated somewhere else, because it's just a way of looking. I think more people can do this. Yeah, but you have to have some connection with the landscape that those stories are told. And I don't know Asia, and I don't know America, so it's yeah.
I'm also picking up from the questions. I'm not sure you have answered that one. Your book isn't available in English.
No, not yet. I cut myself in the fingers because I lent some of my drawings to Isabella Tree for her book of wilding, and then the publisher said, "We're not going to do this twice, Mr. Helmer." So maybe I have to wait some years or find some other publisher, because it really needs to be in English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, there they are.
There it is. Brilliant. Well, it's nearly time to wrap up. Nitch, you've got your hands up, but it's nearly at the top of the hour.
Yeah, it was just a quick question if you've ever considered illustrations about marine rewilding and the role of illustrations on the impact of sea wilding.
Sea wilding, yes. At the end of my book, you see the North Sea. I've been diving in that one.
Oh, lovely.
Really. And also about the grey whale. I have a great plate of the grey whale used to be in the North Sea, and it's extinct, but it's coming back because of climate disruption. It's coming back from the Pacific over Canada and Russia, and these things, about.
And Mary.
So I did do some marine stuff. Yes. Also,
Nice.
I have another one that's not published in the book about shellfish reefs and how they are very the keystone role they play. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and we are in contact with some rewilding organizations to translate the book. But if you have questions about that, please contact me. Then, it would. Yeah, I would really like that there will be that this is available in more languages.
Could you perhaps share your email address in the
yes.
please?
Yeah. And I shared the link to the Helix also.
Lovely. Thank you. Well, thank you both for joining us for this Global Rewilding Communicators Network. And it was just brilliant to be able to dive into your work a bit more and have some invitations to get in touch, because as it was mentioned earlier, it's all a sort of collaborative effort in this movement. And lots of the challenges that we're facing individually in our own countries or continents are very shared. So thank you for joining us, Anne-Marie and Jeroen. It was brilliant. And thank you everyone for your wonderful questions and things. As we said at the beginning of the call, we'd love to highlight different tools and aspects of the comms challenge. So get in touch with our team, and if you would like to be spotlighted in the future, or if there's a certain challenge that you'd like us to tackle, and we can set that up. But thank you.
Thank you very much for inviting us.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.